Romeo, Ruby, let's go. Let's go.
Come on, let's have a candid conversation. Let's talk about it. Just bring it up, we got hope and love.
Yeah.
It's all about you and your well-being. The Candid Conversation Show. Let's go. Let's talk about
Hey,
it.
let's talk, let's walk it out. Let's talk, walk it out.
It's all about you.
Let's walk it out. Let's talk.
Hello and welcome to Talk About It, the Candid Conversation Show with Muriel,
And Ruby.
where we discuss topics that are unspoken and taboo in our community. We are so excited to have a candid conversation with Robbie Black, my high school classmate of 35 years. We will be discussing his healing journey with drug addiction, recovering from alcoholism, and his faith.
Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you.
35 years.
35 years.
Y'all
I
are
can't
dating
believe it. We're getting
yourselves.
old, but we look good.
I
We
wouldn't
do
say
look
that out
good.
We
loud.
look good.
We do look good.
We look great. Thank you for
Listen,
being on
yes,
the show.
thank you
Yeah.
for coming. And we know that you're very busy, and so we appreciate you taking time out to be with us.
Yes, I appreciate the invite, and it is an absolute honor to come here and be able to share my story and try to help inspire others.
Oh, you
Yes,
definitely will.
Yes.
You know, when I heard your story, I says we got to get him on here because he has to share his journey with our audience. And we always lead the show with asking the guests to tell us a little bit about their childhood, because we honestly believe that our childhood shapes who we become as an adult.
Yes.
Absolutely. And just to touch on that, yes, so did come from a divorced home, broken home.
Okay.
Mom and dad split when probably around 8. You know,
Okay.
that's something as a child that I hung on to for quite some time.
Yes.
You know, to the point to where I still had hopes and dreams of my mom and dad getting back together until my mom got remarried. That's when
Okay.
I finally gave up on
You're like,
that.
that's it.
That's it. It's
Yeah.
over with now,
Right.
right?
It's not going to
So-
happen.
But one of the great things that did come out of our childhood, and one of the things that were my mom and dad were able to teach us, that even after divorce, when the dust settled,
Right.
Yes.
we would all get together as one big family.
Oh, that's
Beautiful.
awesome.
After they
Beautiful.
remarried, right?
Right.
So we still celebrated holidays together.
Very good.
That's nice.
You know, stuff of that nature. And then my mom and dad, even though they weren't together anymore, they ended up becoming great friends.
Yeah.
So,
I love to hear that.
Me too.
Because I wish I would have that with my
Yeah.
ex, but it's
Yeah.
not possible.
Well, yeah. So I mean, you know, that's one thing that my mom did, and my dad taught us that there is life after divorce
Right.
for the right people.
Of
Right,
course.
correct.
Yes, not for everyone.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very
love that.
good.
So that's pretty much it on the childhood. Just had a great childhood as
Good.
far as that.
What part of town? What? Apopka?
Apopka.
Okay.
Yeah, lived off right there off Orchard Drive and
Isn't
Okay.
that something?
Copper Springs Road.
Yeah. Any brothers or sisters?
Yes, have one real brother
Okay.
that is 4 years younger than me, and then I actually had 3 stepbrothers.
Okay.
Oh.
Yes,
Big
All
family.
Five
boys.
boys.
That's
That's
a
rough.
lot of noise in the house.
A lot of noise.
Roughhousing.
Everybody had motorcycles.
Oh gosh.
You know, so.
So how was it? You all got along?
Yeah, I keep up with probably one of my stepbrothers more
Okay.
than the other two.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
Oh, that's okay.
yeah. So,
But we all have a story, right?
yes.
Some have more stories or more issues than others, but every last one of us have a story. And we know you have this story with alcoholism and also with drug addiction. And we just wanted to get some information of that from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How
Absolutely.
did it start? How did it come about?
Yeah, and that's one of the things that business owner at that point in time.
Okay.
My children were both racing little mini race cars. Felt like I was wearing many hats.
Okay. Everything was on
very,
you.
Very exhausted.
Yes.
We're working on prepping race cars one Wednesday evening.
Okay.
A friend of mine that actually I employed, having a couple beers, whatever, says, "Hey, why don't you try this Adderall?" I'm like, "What is it?" He's like, "It's Adderall." I'm like, "Hey, give it to me."
I don't know. Yeah, you're like,
Give it to me. So, from that point, I was like, fixed everything on the race cars. Whatever I thought was going to break, I fixed it too. So I use
Oh,
it
wow.
as a reference, like what that did for me.
Right.
Kind of felt like I was in that movie Limitless,
Yeah.
where my brain was just functioning
Overdrive.
at some really high capacity.
Mm-hmm.
But just like anything I do in my life, I'm pretty much an extremist, right?
Mm-hmm.
So obviously your body starts building tolerance to Adderall. My intake kept going up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
So then it's at that point, like I said, your body gets so used to that
Right.
drug
Right.
that you're not getting that same feeling again. So you keep on,
You're used to
More
it.
and more.
You want something.
increasing the
Increase
dose,
it,
increasing the dose.
But who is this guy? He was just a
Friend?
personal
An
friend or
employee.
someone
Yeah,
you
he was
were.
an employee.
Okay.
Yeah.
You still friends with this guy?
No.
Okay.
So
man.
he lives in Texas. But anyways,
Okay.
not that I don't blame him.
Right,
You
right.
know, we're all grown people.
Of course.
So, but yeah, and then from there it just kind of got worse. Introduced, my wife to the Adderall.
Oh,
and,
boy.
So then at that point we're using it together, and it just got really, really bad for me as far as if people don't know, Adderall is an amphetamine salt. So let's talk a little bit about
Okay.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's only a couple
Explain it
molecules
to us.
shy of methamphetamine.
Isn't that
Wow.
something?
So, and that's an ADHD medicine. Some people do well on it.
Okay.
Other people that don't have ADHD, kind of like where I started, a low dose was great. But when I started increasing the dosage, didn't do what it was doing for me initially,
Of
getting,
course.
getting that same feeling.
Right.
I would get too high on the Adderall, and then I would use the alcohol
Oh, wow.
actually as an equalizer
Okay.
to come
Oh,
down
wow.
off of not come down
The
off
high.
the Adderall, but just to equalize that out.
So where are you getting this Adderall? Where are you getting this from?
Oh, I mean, it's readily available.
Isn't that something?
Prescribed or on the street, but I was buying it on the street
Street.
because obviously I didn't have a prescription for it.
You weren't nervous that maybe something else was in the Adderall?
No, because it's Adderall is something that is actually given or out by a doctor, right? So it's a prescription drug it's very, very prevalent. I mean, years and years ago, you also saw stories out in Hollywood where doctors were just prescribing all the movie stars,
Right, of
Adderall,
course, 'cause they wanted that money.
They wanted that money,
Right.
right? So, yeah.
My
Yeah.
goodness, I would be so nervous. I know
Me
how
too,
I am.
yeah.
I'm so scared. I'm like, what is this pill? What is it for?
I hate
I'm
pills.
one that I hardly take medication.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to take this one little pill every single day, and it's called the blood pressure pill.
Pill.
And that little pill sometimes will sit in my pocket
Yep.
for most of the day until I'm like, girl, you better take this pill.
Right on.
So, but
Yeah, everybody's different.
Everybody's different,
Yeah.
but yeah, like we were explaining earlier in our conversation, I've always kind of been an extremist, whether surfing,
Right.
experimenting, wanting to live life to the
live
fullest,
life on an edge.
live
Wow.
life on the absolute edge, probably even over the edge.
Oh my goodness.
But you were always fun. You were the fun guy too in high school.
Yeah,
You
I
were
was
always fun.
Yes, I enjoyed having fun, and I looked at it. I think back before all of this happened,
Right.
I kind of looked at it like, well, is tomorrow going to be here for me?
Mm.
So that was more my
Right.
thought process in experimenting,
Right.
with different substances.
Let me just try this.
let me just try this.
What's it gonna hurt?
Yeah, exactly. Might not be here tomorrow.
Yeah. So
Right.
when did you realize that you really had a problem?
Yeah, that would probably have started. I would identify that in about 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, and then so at that point, started having some problems as far as the business was struggling monetarily, trying to manage that, and then also from what the Adderall, the side effect it did for me, now it's different for everybody else.
Right.
Okay.
It started bringing on some psychotic episodes, some psychosis,
Okay.
Oh boy.
delusional thought processes,
Yes.
accusatory stuff.
Can you give us some examples? Just a few?
Yeah, I mean, for me, anyways, it was you know, like thinking that LED light bulbs were making me sick, that there was dye in, red 40 dye in mouthwash that was trying to make, I mean, I was so far out there.
Right.
You know, just accusing my wife of being a Russian spy.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, how crazy is that?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So I was just,
You was
like I
all
said,
the way
I was
gone.
gone.
Yeah, you were gone.
I was gone.
What was happening with the kids though during this whole thing? What was going on with the children?
You know, they were so young, I don't think they really had a clue on what was
Right.
going on.
Okay.
Jordan at that time, our oldest son, was 15.
Okay.
And he was in Charlotte for most of that period.
Okay.
While Janine and I were struggling.
Okay.
You know, so Riley, I think the middle child was about 11. He's now 18. I think out of every one of our children, all the children, I think he would be the one that would
Really
be
see it.
most affected
Okay.
by what was going on, because he was kind of old enough to see, because there's a 5-year gap between Riley and Jackson.
oldest.
Okay.
Right? So if he was 11, Jackson would have only been 5 or 6.
Right.
So, yeah, so at that point, yes, did it have an effect on the children? I've asked that they, you know, go see counseling,
Right,
seek
okay,
counseling.
Good, very good.
You know, but at this point, it's, you know, with the 18-year-old, if he wants to seek that counseling, he can.
Okay.
I know the 23-year-old has.
Okay.
Not for just the issues with what happened to him, but I mean his own personal issues.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
You know, so
Wow.
Unbelievable.
yeah.
What is going on now though with like is with you or your wife? I mean, we know for you. Look at you sitting here.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, you know, the turning point, I think, for me was in the midst of all of this. There was a certain point to where I knew that my life as I knew it was over with, as far as what I saw it being.
Right.
Meaning the marriage, it was not going to be put back together.
Right.
At that point, I had been clean and sober for about 5 months in 2015.
Okay.
Fell back off the wagon,
Okay.
knowing that, hey, we're not going to put this thing back together.
Right.
You were depressed. Depressed,
yeah,
disappointed.
well, just kind of, that was another trigger for me, right? To go
Okay.
right back to the street.
Yeah.
It was
So
easier, right?
So I
It was
ended up
easier
in
to do.
Sanford. With, you know, I was pretty well connected into that community.
That community,
Of course.
right?
You know, stayed at my drug dealer's house for 3 days.
They were just taking your money. They were happy
Taking
to
my
have you
money,
there.
I was inside.
Yep.
I was hanging out with him and his girl.
Yeah.
And then from there, you know, when I was done there, went to another friend of mine, 23-year-old girl, and her 50-year-old boyfriend. And that's when I really just honestly tried to kill myself
Oh no.
through
Oh my goodness.
through the abuse of alcohol and drugs.
Oh gosh.
And,
Wow.
and I'm just going to be honest,
so
because
sorry
I'm
you
a
had to go
truth
through
teller,
that.
Yes.
Right.
teller. I mean, it was Molly, street drug Molly. I tried crack cocaine for the first time. I drank
Oh my
anything
gosh.
that I could get my hands on, as much cocaine. So really, again, for that
Oh my
2-week
gosh.
period,
Just everything. Everything and
under the
anything.
sun.
I make it, well, in my story, and I'm telling this in a jokingly way, I went on a run that would have made Charlie Sheen proud.
Oh, stop.
Okay?
You know what?
So,
I'm glad you came back from that.
I came back from that, went back to Mom's house, and
But
you
what's
know,
going on now with you though? Look at you. You're sitting here. You look great.
Amazing.
yeah. I mean, that was it. 6 years. I started my recovery process 6 years ago, and then what got me to that point was, you know, I was laying in bed, just crying out to God, God, I need my children. God, I need my children. And I heard God speak to me, and He said, Robbie, you don't need your children. Your children need their father.
Oh wow.
That's deep.
And then
That's
at
deep.
that point, you know, the intervention had already happened with my brother, my sister-in-law,
Oh, they had
my
an intervention.
mom. They were ready to, you know, my mom was ready to spend $30,000 for a 30-day rehab.
Yeah, she wanted you to get
I was in the middle of a
help.
divorce. I didn't want that on my record. I'm like, Mom, I'll never see my kids again.
Right.
You know, so let me do this myself.
So you
And then-
didn't do rehab.
Didn't do rehab.
Okay.
So they said, you'll never, as far gone as you are, you'll never do it by yourself.
No, they forgot you had God on your side.
Exactly. So well, that's what I did.
It's a higher power.
But I was mad at God for a couple of weeks for not restoring my marriage. Like I was absolutely mad during that 2-week period.
Right.
Like I was like,
Make this right. Make
Make
this
it, you
right.
know.
Let us get back together.
Exactly. So when I heard God speak to me, and then I had that intervention, it all happened right there at the same time. And I just enrolled myself into back into Northland.
Okay. Went back to church.
Renewed my faith.
Awesome.
And enrolled myself into the Fortunate Few, which is a AA program that they have in Northland.
Okay.
So I started going to meetings once a week.
Good.
And did the meetings for 2 years. I'm not actively involved in that any longer.
Okay.
But what is strong inside of me is my spirituality. I
right.
really
There you go.
know that I
There you
belong
go.
to.
But it had to come from you. Nobody could have forced you and said, okay, you're going now.
No.
You're going today. It had to be a time when you were ready. You had to be ready.
That is absolutely the truth, because my old self, the self that was, in the throes of addiction, my cry out for help wasn't articulating to somebody that I needed help.
Absolutely.
It was, hey, I'm going down this path. Will somebody please come and save me? And then that was my cry out for help internally, but I wasn't articulating that to anybody that was close to me.
Okay.
I get it.
So, once I learned to speak up and say, hey, I'm struggling and I need help.
Yeah.
That's
Admitting
when
it.
things changed for me. And then, of course, like we talked about, you got to get sick and tired of being sick,
Sick and
That's
tired.
right. Yeah, you got sick and tired.
You got
Yes.
sick and tired.
Yep.
You know, with my own issues, I have different coping skills that I utilize. During your recovery process, did you utilize any coping skills? Did you learn any?
Absolutely. Just a lot of prayer, meditation. 23rd Psalms became one of my favorites.
Oh, yes.
I memorized that 160-word verse. I read a book by Charles L. Allen, which is a mid-50s paperback.
Okay.
He was a minister,
Okay.
and the book's name was called God's Psychiatry.
God Psychiatry.
Really?
So my stepmom gave me that book. My dad used to own it.
Okay.
And basically his philosophy, or the philosophy of the book, was if you take and you read the 23rd Psalms, like a doctor prescribes you a pill 5 times a day, your life will change in 7 days.
I like that, though.
Isn't that something?
So that's
So that
what
was your start? That was the
that
kick
was
start?
the start. I started with Joel Osteen.
Okay.
His podcast.
Yes.
Very inspirational.
Very, very, very.
People say this and that about Joel, but that's not
His
for me to
message.
judge.
Yes.
His message.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's all
what
you
he
need.
gives back for the community.
Correct.
That's what's important
That's
to
it.
me. But that's where it started at for me.
Okay.
And then, like it says in the Bible, when you're young in your spirituality, it says right there, you got to feed them milk.
Oh.
Right?
Feed and milk so
Feed
it can
them
grow.
milk. So when you're young in your spirituality, you're on the milk, right? As you get older, you can eat the bread, the meat. So,
Right.
I like that. Yeah.
so that's what it was kind of like for me, and then did a lot of grounding exercises.
Okay.
Just being, breathing,
Yes.
being rooted down. So that I'm sure you've had some of
Definitely.
those coping mechanisms. I did seek therapy.
Yes,
Which
good.
helped me out a lot.
Yes.
Through at that point was my employee program, the
The EAP.
EAP.
Yeah, employee
so I had
assistance.
as many sessions as I could get.
Okay, good.
That's right.
Yeah.
Take 'em
Good.
all.
Yeah, I took advantage of that.
That's right.
right?
You
Well,
have
it
to.
helped. It helped you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I do have to say, too, that my mom helped facilitate
Okay.
my
What a
recovery
blessing.
process.
Yes.
Yes. Because she saw so much, too, didn't she? She saw her baby just,
Yeah.
Going downhill.
like, who
Going
is this? Who
downhill.
is this
Spiral.
child?
And so for me, the guilt
Yeah.
and the shame
Yes.
of being the leader of your family and leading your family down that path
Yeah, but you weren't in your right frame,
was
right
so
mind.
heavy,
It was. I can only
Understand,
imagine.
right.
Yes.
because I knew that I led my family down that path. And where I'm going with this is the only person that I could release that weight to was God,
That's right.
because I couldn't forgive myself.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So I had to ask God to forgive me.
Right.
Right? And I'm not here to preach.
Right,
I'm just
no,
saying
it's
what
right.
worked
For
me,
you, right, right.
right? Because they say, you know, if you're carrying 10 pounds around, you've released 90% of it, but you're still carrying that 10 for miles,
Right.
it's still going to get heavy.
That's right.
Yes.
So you had to release it all.
So were you a Christian before? Did you
I was-
believe in God
I-
before?
That's when, okay, so yes, I was a quote-unquote believer,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Right? I mean, that's brought up in the Christian
Of course.
values and that stuff.
Okay.
You know, and I look at, right now I just know who I belong to. So
Right.
I have a very one-on-one relationship
With God.
with God.
That's beautiful.
It is
Yeah.
beautiful.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I'm not like, you know, last weekend I went to Salty Earl Church, right? First church I've been to in quite some time.
Okay.
But, you know, I stay in the Word.
that's right.
I pray
It's
on
here.
a daily basis. That's
You don't
right.
have
Like
to
you
go to
said, it's your
church,
personal
yeah.
relationship with
That's
Him.
it.
Even if you never walk into a church, it's your personal relationship with Him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because what's
That's
it say?
amazing.
Where two or more are gathered in the midst.
That's right. There you go.
I'm with you.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So we are the church.
We
There
are the
you
church.
go.
This
There
is
you
church
go.
right here.
That's right.
With everything that you have been through, I know you say your mother, but who else is it that you can say that really motivated you, that helped turn you around? And God, of course.
You know, it's a great question, and I don't know that I have the answer to that. I think it was just knowing that I could not continue down this path. So really, my mom facilitated that for me.
Yes,
She just
good.
gave me a place, a safe space and place where I could actually heal at my
Yes.
own, on my own time.
Right.
You know, and then, you know, as far as from a work perspective, I'd always been a self-made business owner,
Okay.
entrepreneur.
Right.
So here I am. Now I got to go back into
Right.
9 to 5.
9 to 5, or if I was in the car business, that's a 70-hour-a-week gig
Cool.
if you don't own your own
Business.
dealership.
Right.
And then they pretty much own you,
Mm.
right? So you're working 65, 70 hours a week. There's no
goodness.
time for anything, no time for
Life,
healing, life.
anything.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and then, like I said, it just got to a point to where when I was applying for new jobs, I was like, oh, I'm too good for that job.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
You
I'm
started
too
being
good for
picky,
that
huh?
job.
You
I'm
were
too
picky.
good for that job. Right?
Do you need a job or not?
So that's where I was going with that story. Our friend JD, or we know him as Chigger, right? Back in the day,
Right.
I was so broke and so hungry. He posted something up on Facebook about them needing
I'm
some
there.
landscaping done. I immediately messaged Chig.
That's right.
Yes.
I'm like, hey, $500 in 4 days?
I need,
I need it.
Yes.
I need to work.
I'm hungry. So it took me to get to that point
to humble yourself.
to where I was like, I am never going to be this hungry again.
Right. Right.
You know, so
There you
that's what it took for me to just say, hey, I don't care what it is anymore.
Yeah.
I
you
need to
know.
work.
You
But
gotta
I ended
work.
up having a you know a great opportunity with Pelican Water Systems,
Awesome.
and have been there for 3 years.
Very
and
good.
I'm
Awesome.
thriving inside that environment.
I'm glad they gave you a chance.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
I am too.
Right.
It was a great learning experience for me
Okay.
because I got to learn a lot about myself.
Yes.
And I think we talked about reinventing ourselves.
That's right. As
And
many
that's-
times as you have to. So
I mean, I call it Robbie Black version 10.25. You know what I'm saying? So, don't like to speak about myself in third party,
You're
but
doing
my
great.
point is,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
you can continue to reinvent yourself. And
Yes,
that's what
you
I
can.
want to tell everybody out there. It
That's
doesn't
right.
matter where you're at in
doesn't.
your life.
correct.
You can change it at any point in time.
That's right.
And I think like we're talking about in the lobby, I mean, 3 years ago, if you would have told me I would own a beach house,
Beautiful.
Beautiful
too.
beach house.
beautiful beach
Yes.
house, you know, all of just God's plan for us is so much better than what we have.
we have.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because 3 years ago, if you'd have told me, Robbie, you're going to own a beach house, you're going to
No.
have this job, I looked at all y'all and said, look, you need to go
crazy.
get locked up in the asylum. 'cause y'all crazy.
What are you
Y'all
talking about,
crazy,
right?
right? So,
Now look at you.
yeah.
Yeah. Moral of the story is no matter how many times you fall, you keep getting back
Get
up.
back
That's
up.
right.
Get
Keep
back
getting
up.
back up.
That's right. And sometimes it is very, very tough to,
Of course
to
it
get
is.
back
Oh,
up.
yeah.
Of course it is.
Oh yeah.
And that's where I would just recommend anybody that is in either the throes of addiction, a dark place mentally,
Yes.
reach out
Yes.
for help.
That's
Yes.
right.
Don't be like me to where
Correct.
it was just continue to abuse yourself.
Right.
Yeah, they feel
Get some help.
they feel alone, so that's why they don't
Exactly.
speak up. But yes,
And we try to tell our
Exactly.
viewers, we want the viewers to know, we want you to know we are here for you. If there's something that you're going through or something that you need, we're in contact with so many people. Reach out to us, inbox us, send us an email, whatever it may be. We are here for you.
Yes.
We're here for the
and
community.
Here for the community.
That's
and,
it.
you know, yeah, and we were talking about how many resources you guys
Correct.
have at your fingertips.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So
Yes.
definitely reach out. And,
Yeah.
And yeah, I would definitely reach out. They have so many resources. They've been through this themselves.
Definitely.
You guys have your own stories.
We
right?
sure do.
We sure do. And that's
So
what
we're-
brought us here to do our
No one's
to do the
perfect.
show.
Right,
Yes.
right. And we're all here together,
That's
and
it.
nobody's, we're not alone.
And
There you
nobody's
go.
going to judge you.
Exactly.
You're not being judged.
non-judgmental.
Exactly.
Yes.
We're just here to help.
That's right. Yep.
You know, I have a few troublesome moments that I've had in my lifetime. And regrets. Do you have any regrets with everything that you have gone through?
You know, I look at regrets. I don't look at them as regrets.
Okay.
The way I look at them is that happened for a reason. You know, and if I wouldn't have went through that particular situation, I wouldn't be the person that I am today.
Right now, yes.
Right. So there are really no regrets for me.
Okay.
Stepping stones, lessons.
Stepping stones, lessons, yeah, and that's another thing too. I mean, as far as the mental mindset, you know, I'm on the positive side of thinking. It's not why is this happening to me. It's more of a question is what is this trying to teach
Teach me.
Teach me.
It's
right?
true. It's a
Yeah.
teaching moment.
So that's how I look at things,
That's
right?
good.
It's like even in the bad,
Yes.
that's where the good stuff's
That's
at.
where the good.
It's
That's
life
right.
lessons.
You know, in the darkness, guess what? That's where you're going to find the light.
Yes. Yes.
So that's I'm a firm believer in that.
Very
That's
well
where you find
said.
out a lot about yourself
That's right.
without trials and tribulations. And I thank God every day for every trial and
That you
tribulation
went through.
I've
Been through.
That's
Yes.
Because again, there's no regrets. That's made me the
Lesson
person
you
I
are.
am
You are
today.
today, and you seem to be doing an amazing job, an awesome job. You look great.
Thank you.
You know, I mean, I love it. It's nice to see you.
Nice to
It's
see
so
you
nice to
too,
see you.
yes.
You better be at the reunion.
Yeah.
September 3rd, I need to see you. I need to see you there.
You want me to be there?
Let's all us old folks get together.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
I need to see you there.
All right.
And I don't want you to to give the viewers a phone number or anything, but is there a message that you want to give to the viewers, maybe a way that you can continue to reach out to people or people can reach out to you to maybe ask a question here or there on something that, worked for you?
Absolutely. And my phone number, if you go to my Facebook page, my phone number is right there in my About info.
Okay.
But it is there. You can either direct message me through Facebook, through my Instagram account. I don't mind even giving out my personal number. So
Good for you. Well,
anybody want to reach out to me, I will give you as much as I can emotionally give you at that point.
Right.
Because we can't pour from an empty cup.
Correct.
Right?
Absolutely.
But my number is 407-274-6886. That is my personal cell phone number. So anybody, like I said, I try to mentor young people.
Good.
Just anybody that I can help, inspire, and give back.
That's right.
That's what I'm really about right now.
Good.
Awesome.
So again, I want to thank both of you.
You're so welcome.
When Ruby reached out to me, would it take me about 2 seconds?
Just
to
like
say,
this.
Bam! I'm like, okay, I'm in, right?
Awesome.
So it was, it's an honor to be here, to be
thank
be able to
you.
share my story.
Yes.
And do it in a safe place.
That's right.
Yes,
out
it
on
is.
out on the patio.
Patio.
That's right.
Out on the patio.
That's right.
Right.
Having a candid conversation.
Candid conversation.
We are just so proud of you, of your sobriety, and we just want to say congratulations.
That's right.
Thank you
Yeah.
both.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Is
Yes,
there
thank you.
anything that we didn't ask you that you would like to share with the audience?
No, again, I just think, just to reiterate, if you're feeling alone and you're feeling by yourself and you're feeling like nobody understands, my only advice to you is to just reach out to somebody.
Absolutely.
Right? That would be my only
Yes.
thing. Because, abusive patterns are patterns.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter what type of abuse it is. I mean, addiction is addiction, whether whether it's food, whether it's alcohol abuse,
Yes,
drug
drugs,
abuse,
Still abuse.
porn addiction. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Addiction is addiction, right?
Yes.
So my only recommendation is just please reach out. You guys are doing a great job. You have so many resources here at your fingertips.
Yes, thank you.
And that would be my thing. Just please reach out and seek help.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we
Thank you for
appreciate it.
joining us. We
Yes.
appreciate
Yes.
it. We thank you for joining us this evening. We truly do appreciate your unwavering support. Please join us next Tuesday at 6 p.m. for another guest right here from our community. In closing, Robbie shared his truth with us this evening. He says that God taught him that sometimes you don't get what you want, but He provides to you exactly what you need. The very first step of the recovery process is to become aware that you do have a problem, then take ownership, and from there, seek help. Recovery is not a one and done. It is a lifestyle. It is a conscious decision every single day. It is a gift to the people you love. Brene Brown says, one day you will tell your story of how you overcame what you went through, and it will be someone else's survival guide. Your hardest times often lead to the greatest moments in your life. Keep the faith. It will all be worth it in the end. If you or someone you know is in need of help, contact Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services at 1-800-662-4357. We are real sisters, sharing real stories within our community. We thank you for tuning in to Let's Talk About It, the Candid Conversation Show.
Go. Let's go.
Come on, let's have a candid conversation. Let's talk